Washington, D.C. And just when you thought Capitol Hill had seen it all, another political storm brews, this time between two fiery figures who never back down, Congressman Jim Jordan and Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. It all started innocently enough, or at least it looked that way. A routine oversight hearing on Department of Justice protocols, full of standard talking points and staged grandstanding. But the energy shifted the moment Jasmine Crockett took her seat. Now, if you know her, and most do by now, you know she's not one to be steamrolled. Still, what happened next even caught seasoned reporters off guard. Jordan, clearly in attack mode from the start, took the floor and delivered a monologue that sounded less like oversight and more like campaign theater. He railed about lawlessness, the weaponization of government, and, of course, accused Democrats of tearing down the very foundations of our republic. It was dramatic, it was loud, and it was clearly aimed straight at Crockett. Then, with a smirk that didn't go unnoticed, Jordan added this jab. Some members seem more interested in catchy sound bites than constitutional duty. The room tensed. Every eye turned toward Crockett. Without missing a beat, she adjusted the mic and smiled. Not kindly, but like a lawyer who knows exactly where the argument is headed. Congressman Jordan, she began, calm and cold, you've mistaken volume for validity. Again. Oof. It wasn't just a comeback, it was a warning. Jordan leaned forward, clearly ready to escalate, but Crockett wasn't done, not even close. She continued. You come here shouting about justice while refusing to admit when your own party obstructs it. I don't do sound bites, I do facts. You could hear murmurs ripple through the chamber. Some Republicans chuckled nervously. A few Democrats leaned back like they were watching a show. And in a way, they were. Because what had just begun wasn't a debate. If you thought yesterday's Judiciary Committee hearing would pass quietly, think again. It all escalated the moment Congressman Jim Jordan decided to challenge Representative Jasmine Crockett, not just on policy, but on persona. Now, to the untrained eye, Jordan came in swinging with his usual fervor. That chest-out, voice-raised, courtroom-on-fire routine he's so famous for. He thought he could rattle her. He thought he could throw her off. But what he didn't expect was that Crockett came prepared to burn the script. The trigger? A condescending remark that made the entire room flinch. Jordan leaned into his microphone and said, and I quote, "Some of us are here to work, not tweet." It wasn't just a dig. It was bait. But Crockett didn't bite, at least not in the way he hoped. With the calm of a seasoned litigator and the bite of someone who's had enough, she looked him straight in the eye and fired back. And some of us are here to protect democracy, not perform outrage theater for a right-wing base. Boom. The room tensed. You could almost hear committee staffers stop typing. Phones went up. You know when a moment shifts. And this was it. Jordan, visibly irritated, shot back with stats, talking points, the usual barrage, border security, inflation, gas prices. But Crockett wasn't playing defense. She interrupted only once, and it was surgical. You love to talk about crises, she said, but never about causes. You scream about the fire, but you're the one holding the match. At that point, even a few Republican aides looked sideways. Crockett didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. Her tone was precise. Every line felt like it had been sharpened before the hearing, but somehow still felt completely off the cuff. And then she hit him with this. You think I'm here to tweet? Congressman, I came here to legislate. You came here to go viral. That line, right there, spread like wildfire within minutes. Twitter lit up. TikTok had the clip on loop. Crockett versus Jordan was trending before the hearing even ended. And folks, this was just the beginning. By the time the second round of questioning rolled around, the room wasn't just watching, it was waiting. Jim Jordan, visibly irritated after Crockett's first round of fire, adjusted his tie and leaned forward again. But this time, his tone changed. It got sharper, less performative, more personal. If the Congresswoman would spend half as much time studying the Constitution, he snapped, as she does preparing Twitter zingers, maybe we'd get somewhere. There was a collective gasp. One aide actually muttered, "Oh no, he didn't." But he did, and Crockett's expression said it all. Calm, unbothered, but locked in. She didn't even blink. She tapped her papers slowly, then looked up with that signature blend of poise and precision. "Congressman Jordan," she said smoothly, "if I wanted lessons in constitutional law, the last person I'd go to is someone who still pretends January 6th was a tourist visit." Boom. The room went still. Then came the murmurs. A few gasps. One Republican staffer near the back coughed just a little too loudly, perhaps from shock, perhaps from laughter. Jordan froze for a split second, then tried to pivot. "You want to talk about accountability, Congresswoman? How about your party's silence when—" But Crockett cut him off, respectfully, but without hesitation. "No," she said. "Let's talk about yours. You've spent more time defending insurrectionists than defending democracy. You grandstand in hearings, but when it's time to vote on real reform, you vanish, so spare us the speeches." A Democratic congressman 2 seats down whispered, "She's cooking him alive." And he wasn't wrong. This wasn't just a political disagreement. This was dismantling in real time. Jordan tried to recover, throwing out stats and catchphrases, but it was too late. Crockett had taken control of the room without raising her voice, and the audience, in the chamber, online, and across the country, was watching it all unfold. Because what we were witnessing wasn't just a clash of ideologies, it was a masterclass in composure versus chaos. By this point, the hearing had shifted. What started as a routine oversight session was now center stage for one of the most intense verbal chess matches Congress has seen this year. And Jim Jordan knew it. That's why he doubled down. "I didn't come here to play games," he said, eyes locked on Crockett. "The American people are tired of this circus. And frankly, Congresswoman, you've become the ringleader." That line might have landed, if it weren't for what happened next. Crockett leaned back, nodded slowly, and replied with a smirk that could melt steel. "Well, Congressman, if I'm the ringleader, then I guess that makes you the clown." Ouch. The jab was swift, but what followed was pure devastation. Not in volume, but in delivery. "I didn't come here to entertain conspiracy theories or rewrite history," she continued. "I came to represent the people who sent me here. And believe me, they sent me to speak truth, not to coddle fragile egos." Jordan, visibly agitated, tried to interrupt, but the gavel came down. The chair ruled in Crockett's favor, allowing her to continue uninterrupted. She did, and she made it count. "You accuse me of spectacle? Sir, I wasn't the one screaming on cable news while democracy was on fire. I didn't help fuel a movement that stormed the Capitol. And I didn't try to wash my hands after the damage was done." Her voice never cracked. It didn't need to. What made Crockett dangerous in that moment wasn't just her command of facts. It was her control of the room, the ability to throw a punch with elegance and never lose her footing. A journalist sitting near the back whispered into his recorder, "This isn't a debate, it's a demolition." Meanwhile, on social media, the clip of "If I'm the ringleader" was already trending. The hashtags were multiplying by the second. Crockett claps, back, Jordan vs. Jasmine, mic drop moment. And just like that, a hearing that Jim Jordan likely expected to dominate had turned into a viral showcase of why Jasmine Crockett was fast becoming a household name, and a political force you ignore at your own risk. More was coming. Everyone in that room knew it, and no one, not even Jordan, was ready. The tension was thick enough to cut with a gavel. After Crockett's last barrage, Jim Jordan sat back in his chair, stone-faced, gripping the edge of the table like a man trying to hold on to his own narrative. But what came next didn't just shift the room, it split it. Jordan leaned into his mic and said, almost too calmly, "You talk a lot about truth, Congresswoman. But what truth is it exactly when you defend policies that leave our borders wide open, our police defunded, and our kids confused about who they even are?" The room froze. Even some of Jordan's allies shifted in their seats. Crockett raised an eyebrow, leaned forward, and responded without hesitation. "Oh, so now you care about kids?" she said, voice steady, tone sharp. "Where was that concern when children were locked in cages, when school shootings went ignored, when your party cut funding for healthcare that actually keeps our children alive?" Jordan opened his mouth, but Crockett wasn't done. "And as for the border, spare me the Fox News panic reel. You want to talk about being confused? Try being a teenager in this country watching grown men cry about pronouns while ignoring gun violence and poverty. That's confusion." Boom! The room audibly shifted. Several staffers paused mid-typing. Jordan tried to fire backs, but Crockett had already flipped the switch. "You throw out culture war buzzwords like you're ordering from a fast food menu. But none of it fills the stomach of a single hungry child. None of it keeps a single black mother safe when she sends her son to school." The crowd behind the press barrier stirred. You could feel it. This wasn't just another hearing. This was a political reckoning in real time. Then she dropped the line that would make tomorrow's headlines. "I didn't come to Congress to cosplay as a patriot, Jim. I came here to legislate like one." Boom. Again. Journalists were typing with one hand and tweeting with the other. Cameramen zoomed in. Even members of the committee, Republicans and Democrats alike, exchanged glances that screamed, "Did she really just say that?" Yes, she did. And the silence that followed was louder than any outburst. This wasn't just Crockett holding her own. This was Crockett taking the stage. And Jordan realizing, too late, that he was no longer in control of the script. As the hearing wrapped up, Jim Jordan shuffled his notes. But the damage was done. Jasmine Crockett didn't just survive the debate. She owned it. Reporters outside the chamber weren't asking what Jordan had said. They were asking how Crockett managed to dismantle a veteran congressman with precision, poise, and unapologetic fire. It wasn't just a clash of ideologies. It was a generational reset, a cultural mic drop. As Crockett walked out of the room, her phone was already buzzing, not with crisis texts, but with support, interviews, and viral clips making the rounds at record speed. And while some tried to spin the moment, the footage didn't lie. She showed up. She shut it down. She rewrote the headline. If you're tired of the same old spin and you want the real heat, unfiltered, unapologetic, and straight from the front lines, hit that subscribe button now. Because next time Congress erupts, you'll want a front row seat.